Now I am going to discuss about Ohm's law. I have told earlier that when potential difference is applied across a conductor, a current begins to flow through the conductor because of electric field produced. Now, when potential difference is applied across a conductor, suppose that this is a conductor, we apply a potential difference across it. We can put voltmeter to measure the potential difference. Then electric current begins to flow. As the potential is increased, amount of current increases. When means current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference across it. Current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference across it. Potential difference across it. There is condition. Provided physical conditions remains unchanged, means its length, area, volume, temperature, etc. should not be changed. Provided physical conditions remains unchanged. So Ohm's law states that current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference across it. When we increase this potential difference, current increases. Provided physical conditions remains unchanged. Mathematically we can write V proportional to I. You can also write it as V is equal to a constant of proportionality R multiplied by R. I. V is equal to R I. Here R is a constant and it is called resistance of conductor. Means resistance is that property of matter due to which it opposes the flow of current through it. V is equal to R into I. R is a quantity, it is a constant for material, for a particular piece of material, and resistance is that property of matter due to which it opposes the flow of current through it. So therefore from this relation, V is equal to R into I into R. Therefore R is equal to V upon I. This resistance is a scalar quantity and its unit will be, what will be its unit? Unit of potential difference is volt. So its unit will be volt upon unit of I is ampere. So unit of resistance is volt per ampere. Volt per ampere is also called ohm. It is symbolically written as like this. So potential difference across conductor is directly proportional to current flowing through it, or you can say current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference across it. V is equal to I into R. R is a constant and this constant is called resistance of conductor. Resistance is that property of conductor due to which it opposes the flow of current through it. It is a scalar quantity, its unit is volt per ampere. Now if you plot a graph between voltage and current. Now I am trying to plot a graph between voltage and current. Then graph is like this. And if graph is not like this, then it means it is not following Ohm's law. So those conductors which follow Ohm's law are called ohmic conductor, and those who do not follow Ohm's law are called non-ohmic conductors. And if you find slope of this graph V upon I or delta V upon I, and then you can find resistance. R is equal to delta V upon delta I. Here, to find resistance at any point, you have to draw a tangent, and slope of tangent will give resistance. But difference between these two resistances is that in this case, resistance at every point is different because slope of tangent at every point is different. So this resistance is called dynamic resistance. And this resistance is called static resistance because graph is a straight line. Then this resistance is static resistance. Static resistance. So if any conductor obeys Ohm's law, then it is called ohmic. If does not obey Ohm's law, it is called non-ohmic. In case of ohmic conductor, slope of graph is same at every point, and this resistance is called static resistance. In case of non-ohmic conductors like torch bulb, semiconductors, etc., where they do not follow Ohm's law, means where current is not proportional to potential difference, exactly proportional, then the graph is not a straight line but is a curved line. Then for finding resistance we have to draw tangent, and this slope of tangent varying at every point. Therefore, this resistance is called dynamic resistance. So, students, now I will discuss factors affecting the resistance. On what factor does the resistance of a conductor depends? Suppose that this is a conductor, its area of cross section is A, its uniform conductor, its length is L. Then the resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to length. As you increase the length of a conductor, its resistance is increased. For example, resistance of 1 meter of wire is 2 ohm, then resistance of 2 meter wire of same material will be 4 ohm. Resistance is directly proportional to length of conductor, and it is inversely proportional to area of cross section. Resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to its length, and resistance of a conductor is inversely proportional to its area of cross section A. So you can write R proportional to L upon A. Therefore, R is equal to another constant rho L upon A. Here rho is a constant, and this constant is called resistivity. Or there is another word for this, is specific resistance. Now I would like to make you clear that there are two constants. Resistance is also a constant and resistivity is also a constant. Then what is difference between two? A difference between two is the resistance is constant for a particular piece of conductor and resistivity is constant for a material. For example, there are two pieces of copper. Suppose that this is one piece of copper and this is another piece of copper. Resistance of these two pieces will be different because these two have different dimensions. Length is different, area is different. But if this resistance of this piece is 2 ohm, resistance of this piece is 6 ohm, then how much potential you applied across it, its resistance will always remain 2 ohm, it's constant. How much potential you will apply across this conductor, its resistance will remain the same, 6 ohm. But resistivity of this piece and this piece both is same because both are of same material. So resistivity is constant for material and resistance is constant for particular piece of conductor. Now I come on to how can we define the resistivity. So resistivity, from this formula R is equal to rho L by A, you can write rho is equal to R A upon L. Means resistivity of a material is equal to resistance of that piece of conductor whose length is 1 meter and area of cross section 1 meter. If you put here L is equal to 1 and here A is equal to 1, then rho will become to R. It means resistivity of a material can be defined as resistance of that piece of conductor whose length is 1 meter and area of cross section 1 meter square. If cross sectional area is circular, then you can also write rho is equal to R. Area you can write pi r square. Rho is equal to R pi square upon L. Means resistivity is directly proportional to square of area. Resistivity is a constant for material. It's not proportional to R square. Resistance is proportional to, inversely proportional to area and directly proportional to length. Resistivity of material is equal to R, pi is R square by L. If you change R radius, then R will also change. And if you change L, this R will also change. Therefore, by changing R and L, this resistivity will not change. Means it is not like that if radius will be doubled, resistivity will become 4 times. If radius length is become 3 times, resistivity will become 1 by 3. Because if you change the length and radius, this R will also change. Therefore, resistivity rho is equal to R pi r square by L. It does not depends on radius and length. It is the whole property of matter. So students, up till now we have learned about Ohm's law, about resistance and resistivity. Now I will prove Ohm's law by using relation between drift velocity and electric current. You know that relation between drift velocity and electric current is given by I is equal to NEAVD. When no potential difference is applied, then initial velocity of free electron is 0. Therefore, you can write NEA 0 plus A into T. Here A is acceleration, T is relaxation time, and this formula is from first law of motion. V is equal to U plus AT. So you can write it as I is equal to N E A tau A. Here A is acceleration, and from Newton's second law, F is equal to ma. So therefore, in place of acceleration, you can write force upon mass. Therefore, I is equal to NEA tau upon mF. Now you know that F is equal to QE. Therefore, here charge of electron is E. So in place of force, you should write F is equal to QE. Charge of electron is small e. Therefore, F is equal to E into E. It means I is equal to N E square A tau upon m into E. Now, if length of conductor is L and potential difference across it is V, so you can write I is equal to N E square A tau upon m. E can be written as V upon L. I is equal to N E square A tau upon m. In place of V, I have written V by L. So therefore, V is equal to ml upon NE square A tau into I. If you look to this formula, m is constant, length is also constant, free electron density is constant because its material is same, charge of electron is constant, a physical property is same, area is also constant, temperature is same, tau is also constant. Then if these all is constant, means V proportional to I. It means if these quantities are constant, ml upon NE square tau, then V proportional to I, and this is Ohm's law. This is Ohm's law, and this is the condition, this is the physical condition. If this is constant, then V proportional to I. This is Ohm's law. And from Ohm's law, you have studied V is equal to IR. It means this much quantity, which is in bracket, is equal to resistance. It means quantity ml upon NE square A tau is only the resistance. This is the formula for resistance. R is equal to ml upon NE square A tau. This quantity is called resistance. And earlier you have studied that resistance, from here you can also see the resistance proportional to length, resistance is inversely proportional to A, and resistivity R is equal to resistivity rho is equal to R A upon L. Therefore resistivity rho will be equal to R's value ml upon NE square A tau into A upon L. This A and A cancel out, L and L cancel out. It means resistivity of material is m upon NE square tau. This is formula for resistivity. It means resistivity is inversely proportional to relaxation time, and resistivity is inversely proportional to free electron density. The material in which free electron density is large, its resistivity will be small. It will be good conductor. If free electron density is high, then its resistivity and consequently resistance will also be high. So resistivity of a conductor is inversely proportional to free electron density in it, and also inversely proportional to relaxation time. Relaxation time means average time between two successive collision of free electrons. So children, now we will study effect of temperature on resistance. As we know that resistance of a conductor R is given by R is equal to ml upon NE square A tau. It means resistance is inversely proportional to free electron density and inversely proportional to relaxation time. Resistance is directly inversely proportional to free electron density and is inversely proportional to this relaxation time. As the temperature of a material is increased, what happened to its kinetic energy of free molecules? When temperature is increased, kinetic energy of free molecules increases. Therefore, they collide more frequently. Means their relaxation time decreases. When temperature is increased, kinetic energy of free electron increases, and they collide more frequently, means number of collision per second increases, and this decreases this relaxation time. And when relaxation time decreases, this resistance is increases. Therefore, as we increase the temperature, resistance is increased. And the relation between temperature and resistance is given by R is equal to R naught 1 plus alpha T. Here R is the resistance at any temperature, R0 is the resistance at 0 degree centigrade. R0 is resistance at 0 degree centigrade. R is resistance at T degree centigrade. Alpha is constant, and this constant is called temperature coefficient of material. and T is temperature. Approximately we can write also as temperature is not very large. R2 is equal to R1 1 plus alpha T2 minus T1. And likewise similarly, if in terms of resistivity, you can write rho is equal to rho naught 1 plus alpha T. Here rho naught is the resistivity at 0 degree centigrade and rho is the resistivity at given temperature 2 degree centigrade, and alpha is temperature coefficient. If we plot a graph between temperature and resistance, then for metals, for almost all the metals, graph is like this. For nichrome, graph is like this. Most of the alloys, resistivity is almost constant. For magnet, relation between temperature and resistance is like this. And for semiconductors, as we increase the temperature, number of free electrons increases, and when number of free electrons increases, therefore resistivity decreases and resistance decreases. Therefore, relation between temperature and resistance of a semiconductor like silicon and germanium is like this. As the temperature is increased, its resistance and resistivity both decreases. So once again I will tell you that when temperature is increased, kinetic energy of free electron increases, and kinetic energy of free electron increases, therefore electrons collide more frequently, and this decreases the relaxation time. And as the relaxation time decreases, resistance increases, because resistance is inversely proportional to relaxation time. And relation between temperature and resistance is given by R is equal to R0 1 plus alpha T. Here R is resistance at given temperature, R0 is resistance at 0 degree centigrade, and T is temperature. Alpha is temperature coefficient.